Welcome to Fortunato Podcast. Fortunato, to give you a little context, means Italian, lucky in Italian, right?
Yes, means lucky. Fortunato means lucky in Italian, if you translate. And I actually found that not too long ago, and somebody told me that Fortunato means lucky. And that was good to know because I feel very lucky. I feel like life is always shining. And today we want to focus on the talk a little bit about how much confidence is related to the size of the person. If a bigger person means that give him more confidence to act and behave in his life.
Well, and I have a little, not a story, but an observation that I have with kids that are a little bit bigger, and they get like separate from the other kids because they don't want to play with them, maybe because they're too big, or even teenagers that I see that get here and they're intimidated by just being in whatever place that you can think of, but they're just being ostracized, like they're being like separated from the other kids just because they're bigger. And I think Jackson has a interesting story of on his life, and that's why we want to share this, because I think it's pretty interesting. Maybe it can help you to get relate with Jackson in that part and see the benefits and how he mature enough to have that insecurity like just go away, and not just go away like magic, but help a little bit with time. So tell a little bit about your story of
my
of being
story
a kid.
was pretty much what I see a lot of my story repeating in front of me here at the gym. I was that kid that the parents always mention, oh, your son is the big one, he's the taller one in the group. And today I weigh 195, I'm 6'4", so I'm not the smaller on any group that I participate. And same was when I was a child. And that never reflect on my confidence, because I had a lot of problems with confidence when I was a child, probably because also I was an obese child, and I've been fighting to don't be an overweight child since I remember going to school. And probably that was one of the things that really caused to interfere and never let me become a confident child. I was the one that was getting bullied in the school bus, and all that stories that today I simulate in the kids class. Oh, they're gonna take your lunch money. That was exactly what was happening with me in real life. And of course, many years ago, we don't have the access to this kind of programs that we work today. But it was pretty interesting how my size never helped to improve my confidence as a child. And of course, I ended up finding Jiu Jitsu, and definitely that was the fact that's really boosted my confidence and turned me in a different person.
And there's one thing that is interesting, and we always talk about it, that there's students that arrive here, and they're always intimidated, and they're way bigger and stronger, but they don't understand how strong and not the size, but how strong they are and how they can survive, and they still are nervous to be here.
This was actually one of the reasons why we brought this topic. We started to talk about this student in particular, that he's one of the toughest students we have here. He's a big guy, maybe like 210, very muscular, very physically attributes, natural. And of course he work out and he plays soccer here at the facilities too. And I always saw him as a guy that would never be afraid of walking a martial arts school. You know, and after a couple of years he was training here. One day we sat after training for the regular talk after the training, and he told me, like, Professor, I spent over 6 months walking by the gym and I never had the guts to walk in and ask for information. And I love UFC, and he actually is the guy that always know about the fights and everything because he's really into the martial art. And there was a guy that was totally scared of walking in and ask for information and do his first class. And I found that after 6 months that he was already training here. Actually, a couple of years he was training here. And one day he brought that story. And that guy that I always see as a very tough, very confident person, actually he was not. He was a big guy that was not feeling comfortable to walk in the gym and ask for information to do his trial class. And today he's really embracing the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. And yeah, that little detail was interrupting a new chapter on his life that can be, I see him as one of those guys that's going to achieve the rank of a black belt one day.
100%.
And he was walking by here and never have the confidence enough on his body, on his mentality of walking and say, hey guys, what's going on here? I love MMA and I always want to train jiu-jitsu, but it took him like 6 months to finally walk in and talk with us.
I mean, hopefully we can have him one time here so he can tell his own story,
Yeah,
his own perspective.
we can definitely invite him. He's a very, very cool person.
Because he knows if we explain all the details, he's gonna know exactly that we're talking about him. So hopefully he can be here in the podcast and you can hear his own story and his own point of view and why he did it. Because this is just a little story that he gave, but it's awesome to just see him and he explaining his own perspective. But I wanted to ask Jackson, like, well, Jackson lived in London for a couple of years and had one gym there or 2 gyms?
We ended up having several academies in London from 2005 until 2012. That was the time that I lived there.
And I'm asking that because you have this academy here, and London, of course, being a different culture, and living in Brazil as well. Do you think having those experience there, is it the same? Those people that are bigger still have the same anxiety?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. Absolutely.
I don't know. It's interesting to see Brazil and London and the US having the same.
Since I have been involved in jiu-jitsu schools in Brazil, in Europe, and here in the US, I have this view of everywhere is the same. Everybody have this lack of confidence sometimes to achieve, to bring up the genius they have inside.
Do you have a cool story for it?
Yeah.
You always have a cool story.
I know many stories of students that came in. Some of them accidentally. The cool story is in London in my gym. Right next to the mat, there is this weighting lift room where there is really strong guys that lift weights there every day. And I was sneaking there and doing my workout sometimes, so I ended up meeting these 4 or 5 guys that become a good friend of mine, and they are huge, really. They used to compete on many challenges of weightlifting, and believe me, really pumped people, they work out hard, really hard, strong. And I was always telling them about, hey, come and try jiu-jitsu classes right next door. Come and try jiu-jitsu class. And they never really accept the invitation and come to check it out. And they knew about jiu-jitsu. I talked with them, and they knew the power of jiu-jitsu, the technique, trump over strength. They knew that concept that was out there. And I think that's what make them not very confident to come and challenge us.
That's interesting.
And years passed, I was going to that place every day and seeing them and become good friends, but totally breathing different subjects. They are focused on the weighting lift area, and I was focused on the jiu-jitsu area. And then one day, one of them came to check it out, and his name is Nathan, and he's one of my best friends in the UK. And I'm telling you, if I put a picture of him, you guys gonna see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an 18-year-old kid that breathes weightlifting the whole day and eats. Regardless where he is, he have his protein and his food ready, and he really take care of it. And he's huge. It's a huge kid. And he come to the gym finally. I think he talked with his friends there, and he came and, okay, what's going on with this jiu-jitsu thing here? I wanna check it out what this is. And he was very like cocky kid, and he always thought that he could handle a fight because he was very strong. So finally he broke that barrier and he came in. And he came in, he actually challenged me directly. He came in, so let's try jiu-jitsu, you and me together, let's try it. I say, you really want to try it? And he say, yeah, I want to try it. And I say, okay, so you're going to go with the blue belt there. And then I call Pedro, I say, hey, come here. Pedro was one of my students. I know that he could handle that situation pretty well. And I told Nathan, I say, Nathan, you want to really check it out what jiu-jitsu is? You don't have to go with me, you can go with Pedro here. Pedro is a blue belt, he's been training here for a while. So you're not gonna be able to say that I'm controlling you because I'm a black belt or whatever. Let's go with this guy here, he's been training here for 2 years. And that's it, and Pedro controlled him on the ground and smacked him over a little bit and messing him up. And he didn't know what to do, and he was exhausted. And
Pedro was smaller or bigger than him?
Pedro was probably like same size, like same weight, but like not like 10% as muscular as he was. You know, Nathan is, I'm talking about
muscle wise,
I'm talking about a huge kid that's really, really muscular. And we can put a picture of him and then people can see, and he's gonna be very happy with that. He is a good friend of mine, and he loved this story. And then that's it. Nathan left, and then next day Nathan was there again. Nathan came back and, hey, can I try again? I say, sure, let's go. Pedro's not here today. You're gonna go with that other guy. And that's it. Cool. And that's like was 3-4 times. I'm putting Nathan with different guys, and he was going there in the same result. He's on the bottom being controlled. And then Nathan started to come to the gym, but he never had a gi. He always forgot his belt. He was always like, disappeared from the gym, and I was always over him. I said, Nathan, come on, because I knew his potential. I knew when I saw him moving in the mats, I know like, man, this kid, he have a lot of power. He's young, he's a very disciplined kid with his food. I see that the way that he eat, the way that he work out, he's always there for long hours. And if he directs a little bit of that to jiu-jitsu and he learn and he put this all together, we're gonna have a very good competitor. At those days, I was really focused in preparing my students for competitions. And Nathan become he's probably a brown belt by now. And when I left the UK, I know that he slowed down in training a lot too, because we are like very, very good friends. And that's it. And I start to bring Nathan to tournaments, and he start to get everything. And he, gi, no gi, whatever the battle was, this kid was there, and he was very, very good, very, very good competitor.
That's awesome. In what? Because this is interesting to see the difference of the cultures and seeing the same mentality. That for me, that is super interesting, because we can see that in different, even though in different cultures and in different countries, and we have the same, not only the mentality, but the same insecurity of just like, oh, I don't think I can do this and everything. And I think how this was the next question that I had in mind, like how did you like decided, no, I need to do this, even though I'm a little bit scared in the beginning, or not only what you did, but what do you see other people do too as well, like different from you? Like what do you do to enter the mat and say like, I'm just gonna try this, I'm tired of waiting, or I'm tired of being scared, or like what do you think before training jiu-jitsu?
What I think before I trained jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, like what you trained before, because I know that you told me you were a little bit intimidated to come in and everything. Mm-hmm. You were the big kid, but what was the mentality before coming in? Like, okay, I need to try this, I'm tired of waiting, or you saw it interesting and then?
I think in my case was different, because jiu-jitsu was kind of a thing that I never wanna try it. I was involved in the capoeira. I used to train capoeira for many years in Brazil. I did capoeira for 3 or 4 years. And I run a project about capoeira in the university, where I was doing my PE graduation. Mm-hmm. And my friends always say like, hey, you should try jiu-jitsu. And that was like when jiu-jitsu was just starting in my city in Brazil. Was
so you were in college?
Yeah, I was in college.
Ah.
And And that's how I found out. That was like right after Royce Gracie, and there is this little gym next to my house. And I ended up going there one day, and one friend from Capoeira, he invited me, hey, let's go there. I went there, and Jiu-Jitsu seems to be really cool. Let's go there and try it. And I have experienced Jiu-Jitsu before, but I had a situation in the gym that I could not really train. The gym was far from my house, and there is a guy that's used to train Jiu-Jitsu there, and I know that this guy, he not like me for some reason. This guy doesn't like me. Man. You know, his nickname was Babão. Babão was, we end up becoming friends before, but for some reason this guy, he don't like me. And I know that he was a tough guy in Jiu-Jitsu, and I went there to the gym the first day, and he was there, and he like intimidated me very much. He said, oh, you're gonna train here now? That's good. And I say, wow, I cannot really train here because Babão is here. So I end up like training there, but I have to go to the class when I knew that Babão was not there, or there is somebody that could assist me. So I was not like really focused. So I was more focused on the capoeira. And then when this other gym opened, I knew that Babão was not there, and Babão's story had already passed. And
we can tell it later.
And then I engaged. When I started to train Jiu-Jitsu, after the first week, I was going to the gym like 2-3 times a day. I was leaving the gym. I used to not work during the week. I used to work just on the weekends, and during the week I spent my whole day in the mats. And I did that for years before I moved to the UK, and I really speed the learning process because I spent maybe like 5-6 years intensively every day in the mats, every day, injured or not. I was in the mats every day for all classes all the time. And
it was a different experience for you. And what do you see? It
was a different start. Yes, I never see like, totally oh, I'm getting bullied. What's the solution for me to get bullied? Go to Jiu-Jitsu and you're gonna learn something that's gonna help with that. It was not like that, you know. I accidentally fixed the problem, finding Jiu-Jitsu and become a more confident person.
And what do you see in London and in Brazil? People that they were bigger but they were intimidated. What was for them that they just wanted to start? Maybe that what Nathan did, just like show up, try it out, and do like a little demonstration. Just
there's all kinds of cases that come to Jiu-Jitsu school, and I think this is one of the diamond of being part of a Jiu-Jitsu school is you are in a room surrounded with people from all different backgrounds, and everybody have a different goal. And the only thing in common between you guys in that moment is like you are learning a very important tool to achieve whatever you have on your pocket. You know, whatever is your goal, we are all here trying to find a way to become better than we used to be. You know, but everybody have a different goal. Some kids come because they got bullied in the school. Other kids, they come because they just want to do some physical activity. The parents, they like the idea of training martial arts, and they see that Jiu-Jitsu is becoming more visible as a martial art for kids because it's efficient and it works.
No violence.
And then when you have a very structured program, it's not just, it's very fun, but extends the learning process out of the door. You know, with the programs that we're using now, we extend the learning process here to the house and also to the school. So it's a solid thing for kids to do. And
and sorry to cut you off, but there's something interesting of, like I'm thinking now of how many students that enter with that mindset. Oh, I didn't want to do it before, and they were strong, big guys. And now they're in Jiu-Jitsu. How many quit or regret it? Just the entering. I think there's low percentage of that.
It's this is something everybody say that now. Like, I wish I have found this before. I wish that
all of them said that, right?
Yeah, everybody says it when you fall in love for something, and then we see that happening here all the time. People come and they fall in love with Jiu-Jitsu because it's a good thing to do. And then you hear that's so cool, like, I wish that I was younger when I found out jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And being a Brazilian, I wish too that I have started earlier, like even earlier than the day when Babão was not accepting me in the gym. You know, like I would be much happier if I could, but I don't think that's a fact. You know, like I wish I was. There's two things that I hear that's I totally disagree with them, and the students also, after they engage and they also gonna change that mindset. It's like I wish I have started earlier. I'm too old now, and I need to get in shape before I try a class. You know, these are things that's
pretty common.
It's very related to confidence. You know, it's just excuse of
not starting.
You not being confident of a new challenge. You know, a new chapter in your life, and the sooner you do it, it's like everything else that you learn and become part of you. You know, jiu-jitsu is like that too.
There's something that I always hear that it's better. There's 2 times to optimum to plant a tree, now and 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. Just do it now, and then that will be fine.
If you don't do now because you regret that you didn't do that before,
and
then it's you missing the point again twice. I think you're repeating the same mistake.
100%. No, that's cool.
So it's and confidence is very related with that. You know, sometimes you don't do something because you're not confident enough to do it, and then after years or whatever the time have passed, you think, oh man, I wish I have done that before. So never let a challenge pass by. You know, you're never gonna know if that was the right choice or not if you don't do it. You know, and I had 2 big events in my life of big change that I did. One was leaving Brazil without nothing, no English, no friends, no money, and I left. And of course I had jiu-jitsu that I ended up finding out that was more than what I thought it was. I arrived in London, I didn't know anybody, I didn't know anything, so the first thing I did was to look for a jiu-jitsu school, and found my friend Roger Brooklyn there, that's opened the doors. And immediately in the first month that I was there, I was surrounded with friends, and people helped me in all kinds of ways. And then the second challenge was leaving UK and come to the US. You know, like really put me in a position like, should I do it or not? Should I do it or not? If I do it, I will know the answer. If I don't do it, I will never know the answer. I will be always asking myself, should I have moved to London or not? Should I have leave London and go to the US or not? Now I know what I should have done. And I did it, and if that was the right choice, I could always go back and try to reestablish what I had. But if I didn't try it, I would be probably in Brazil right now, seeing my friends expanding jiu-jitsu around the world, and me missing that opportunity that I had there to start training jiu-jitsu with the right people back in Brazil. And what I'm very thankful for that, to have these people around me back then and introduce me to jiu-jitsu, and that's become my life, and today I can share that with people that I share, you know. So I think that's very related with you being confident or not. Everything you do, you try, especially some new things in your life.
And I think it's curiosity too, like just being curious to see what is
combination,
out
right?
there.
The curiosity and being confident to pass.
Just try it, trying it out. So we have to go. So we have to do something else. We have a meeting. So we're gonna show. For the people who's watching, we're gonna show a quick technique. Jack's gonna show one. I will show him that I learned recently. And then, so if you just listen to this, you can jump into the link, and then you can see the videos on social media or whichever you want to watch it. And for the ones that are watching it, just wait for a few minutes, and then we're gonna jump into the technique. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for everybody for watching. If you're watching, then we have a couple more cool stories, and we will talk about bully so he can explain the Babão situation. That's pretty funny story, and then we can share with you guys, and then thank you so much, and let us know if you liked it.
Thank you. Okay, the technique that I would like to share today, it's a very simple. You guys can even try, play with your kids. Lay down on the floor with your head that way, Rafael, and your foot this way. So imagine you are on the ground where Rafael is. Come a little bit down here. Yes, there we go. Okay, you have somebody right on your side here. You are on the floor, and somebody trying to suffocate from the side in this position here. Both knees on the side, and put your hands on the chest area, okay, around the neck here, just to simulate that there is somebody on your side trying to control you from here. Okay, the problem here, I can really using my arms to attack him from the bottom, and he is not in a very comfortable position there to punch me. Try to punch me there, he could, but not very efficient from the floor. Okay, so let's switch position here quick. So I have Rafael right on my side here with the hands on the chest. So what I want to do first, I just want to place my hands on his wrist here to have a little bit of control and track. In case he tried to punch me here, I would have a little bit of a tracking system here to see where his arms go. Second one, I'm going to put my feet on the ground and I'm going to escape my hip all the way to the side to bring my knee right in front of his belly. Okay, so at this point here, if he tried to suffocate me, I already put my knee right in between us here. Okay, now my far foot gonna go on his hip, and I'm gonna use that foot just to scoop my body flat on the ground again, so I can put both feet on the hip. And now from here, things are totally different. I have much more control on him, potentially would work in a better trap here to arm bar him, or from here just get a little bit of distance from him, pushing him away, start to get my position, eventually stand up and get out of the situation there. It's a very, very simple way to recover from a bad situation when you are on the ground using the leverage that Jiu Jitsu gives to you.
So I know that Jackson said you can do with the kids, don't arm bar your kids.
Yeah, don't arm bar your kids. Yes, cut off on that part. Don't arm bar them and don't teach them either, because there's a process there. You have to learn how to tap, how to defend. You don't want your kids to use the right tool in the wrong situation.
Here, so mine that I learned pretty recently is something that I will just teach just a simple technique, but the concept, the principle of it's pretty interesting. So for example, we'll be in the guard. In the guard, it's using your legs and you're gonna wrap it around your waist. So you have here, in the situation that we practice is self-defense. So that means punches are involved. So I want my opponent or the bad guy close because he's gonna always punch. So if I have the control of the head, he's not gonna have the distance for him to punch. So here, controlling the head and controlling the power arm, it can be whichever arm, but most people are right-handed, so I control the other side. The principle here, it's always controlling or managing the distance. So meaning if you punch with a free hand, you can bring your knee in and then change my hand's position, controlling the head again, controlling the arm, and biting with my leg his back. So I'm always close. So one thing that I learned and I'm giving feedback to the students is I have the control here, but see my legs are high on his back. So even though he can punch and the back is bigger and stronger, I can feel that punch coming in, so it's easier to bring my knee in and then switch to control him. From here you can transition to many other things, to triangle, or he punched on the other side and we're in a different situation. But the principle is always manage the distance and feeling whatever he's doing, and we can put the situation again on the mount. So I'm the good guy, he's the bad guy, he's gonna punch. Now I'm always close enough for him not to punch. So I'm hooking on the shoulders. Here I can control the head, but just hooking on the shoulders here and surviving is the most important part. So that's the mindset that I learned pretty recently, to always the principle of managing the distance and just being close, so that way you don't get punched in the face, basically, and you don't get damage. So it can be in the guard. For the person that knows jiu-jitsu, take this principle and take it everywhere. Guard, on the mount, on the side, whatever. Just being close, controlling the head, controlling the shoulders, just being close enough for the other person not able to do any damage. So as I wanted, instead of showing you more of a technique, I show you the technique so as an example, the principle you can transform into everything. So I think it's pretty important. What do you think?
I think it's great. Yes, good idea. Controlling the distance, control the damage. That's the idea of jiu-jitsu. That's how it's become very efficient. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Nice.